And we are back. Welcome back to the weekly update. I am your host, the Patriot Dad. Man, this week has been kind of bananas. We have 4 confirmations through for Trump's cabinet. We've had some updates on things going on in California. We've had some progress, I would say, on the DEI front. We've had a ton of executive orders. So much winning in the first week, guys. It is insane. But we are going to be going through a couple of those things. We can also talk about anything. If you want to bring up a topic, we can discuss it openly. I did spend some time this morning on a space for the Spaces crypto. Spent some time there with the Questionable Gardener. That was a lot of fun to provide input. It was actually the first Spaces that I've been a part of, a random one anyways, that I was able to get brought up on stage and have some great discussions. So shout out to the guys over there at Spaces. Whole lot of fun there. We do have our weekly Spaces, Questionable Gardener, myself, as well as some other folks, Tuesday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. As well as this show, I do live streams weekly Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So we can bring up our first thing that I thought was hilarious, which is Governor Newsom saying that it was misinformation to say that he depleted the water supply to protect the salmon. Well, folks, we've seen all the fact checks on his website, but don't take his word for it. Let's watch the video. Because the reality is a little different than what he says it is. So fact checking the fact checker, just remember his fact check website is a campaign website for himself. So take that with a whole lot of salt. Oh, you don't say. Turn that down a bit. Oh. Interesting. Oh. So dam removal project. So you removed a dam and that caused a change in your water supply that may have affected your ability to fight fires. Interesting. So the reality, dam removal projects, yeah, to bring the salmon back. So that's a little bit embarrassing, but well-deserved. Yeah. Next fun thing for the week. One of the many executive orders, and we'll go over the list of those here in a minute, but RFK Jr., his reaction, wonderfully see your post by Gunther Eagleman on X. Declassification of JFK, RFK, and MLK Jr. assassination files. Thanks for trusting American citizens. That's right, folks. One of the executive orders signed is going to declassify this information. It's going to be required to be made public. I believe it's 45 days or so, which puts it sometime in early March. You can give me the exact date if somebody wants to look it up, but it is going to be interesting. We definitely need to protect President Trump. We need to protect all the people in his cabinet. We need to protect J.D. Vance. We need to make sure that this information actually gets made public. And it may be embarrassing to some. It may damage people's trust in the government. But you know what? I think it's about damn time we learn who was involved and what happened. Now, we've been waiting on this for so long that there's a lot of distrust in what we're going to actually get. People are thinking it might be heavily redacted. Well, Trump's executive order says that everything is supposed to be declassified with relation to this. So we shouldn't be seeing redactions. The other concern is we might get false information. And I can see why people might think that. How many times has our government lied to us recently? Unfortunately, a good number. So I can definitely see why people are a little hesitant to trust the information that we're going to get. But you know what? There are probably some agencies or some folks that are probably not alive anymore, but that this might embarrass. Now, they may have families that are still alive, so I would implore you to try and be at least somewhat civil. Let's not be too harsh with these folks, unless they deserve it. But overall, just bullying for bullying's sake is not fun. But I'm sure there are going to be certain prominent families that are going to be involved. Bush Sr. has now passed. He was still alive during Trump's first term, so I have a feeling that has a lot to do with why this was not released in the first term. That is a speculation on my part, of course, but it makes a lot of sense because one of the primary reasons we were given that this information was not declassified earlier is that there are still people involved that were alive. So with his passing more recently and the fact that he was heavily involved in the CIA, including running it for a while, it would make sense that his passing was probably one of the last. So looking forward to this information. We'll definitely be covering that on the weekly update when it comes out. Next, we go into DEI. There has been quite a bit of progress on DEI this week. You can see here that Robbie Starbuck is challenging Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, who went on CNBC in Davos and challenged me to bring it on regarding the DEI policies at his company. Robbie Starbuck accepts his challenge. I don't know if he should have challenged Robbie to that because Robbie has helped end the DEI programs, or at least cause them to change their names and hide their employees and maybe change some of their documentation for many big companies like Harley, like Target, and many, many, many others. I actually have a video about some of them on my channel, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, I accept the challenge. Let's join Andrew Sorkin and Joe Squawk on CNBC to discuss DEI at JP Morgan and Chase. America can decide which of us sounds sane. What do you guys think? So what do you guys think? I'm looking forward to it. No, a lot of the argument against these DEI policies or affirmative action policies is that they violate the Civil Rights Act. They violate the fact that you are not allowed to discriminate based on race, based on gender, or any other protected class. Oh, you can't hear the videos. Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's... Interesting. Thank you for letting me know. Let me look into that. So basically, he was just going over that Jamie Dimon, or Dimon, called him out, said, hey, we can have that discussion in a public forum, and he accepted. So thank you for letting me know. I will look into that. I'm showing that it is showing on my end, but I wonder why it's not showing on yours, or the sound's not coming across on yours. Let me look at it real quick. So 3 okay. So if it's not coming across the mic channel, it is not going to. Okay. The Newsom videos. Yeah, actually, I just checked the audio settings. I will have to fix that off stream. I apologize for that. In fact, I could, if you just want to, might have to, I'll make sure to fix that for next stream. Thank you very much, Jason, for letting me know that. Apparently, my OBS has that configured backwards from a previous setting, and I can't do that while I'm streaming. So I will fix that for next week, I assure you. Thank you for the heads up. But yes, so Jamie Dimon challenged Robbie Starbuck. Robbie Starbuck is very well known for challenging large corporations' DEI policies. And these DEI policies, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinions, violate the Civil Rights Act by discrimination against people for race, gender, or other protected class. So we will definitely be looking at that. But we have already seen, because of these executive orders, that some of these organizations are not really getting rid of their DEI policies like they were ordered to, or like they've said they are. Instead, they are changing the name. So you can see here, the Organizational Cultural Office. Let's see. Yep, that's fine. I'll just put it like this. So the Organizational Cultural Office. Oh, look, something new, sort of. So they actually wrote this. So the Air Force Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is now Organizational Cultural Office. OCO is what was previously referred to as Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office. Hey, no, put that rotten fruit and cabbage away. We are neither the fun nor thought police. OCO is the long-term evolution of DEI. Our aim is to make sure there's diversity within the workplace. To that end, we've moved beyond surface level heuristics. Gender and ethnicity are part of the calculus, yes, but we are also incorporating diversity of thought, culture, religion, and cognitive specialties. Interesting wording. We want to leverage our differences to make the unit and the Air Force more effective. Well, guys, they are not changing, or they're not getting rid of these policies. They are just hiding them. This is pretty much a violation of the order. It's like sea lawyering. Any of those who were in the military know what that is, especially if you were in the Navy like myself. They are trying to find a way to comply with the executive order to eliminate these DEI organizations in federal bureaucracies by just changing the name, by moving the people around. We saw that with the ATF. The ATF renamed their DEI program manager to just an executive. They still work there. They were ordered to be put on leave, folks. And we are seeing a lot of shenanigans in the background right now that I don't really like. And you shouldn't either. But now that we have some of these confirmations complete, you can see here that day one of John Ratcliffe at the CIA, what do we have? Strips the security clearance from John Brennan and other spies who lied. The 51, I believe, agents that lied and about Hunter Biden laptop. I believe those were included in that. Closes the DEI office and places all DEI staff on administrative leave, won't allow them to take other roles. See, that's how it was supposed to happen. The ATF did not do this. The Air Force is apparently not doing this, but CIA is following the executive order. Also announced that COVID leaked from, I don't know if it was specifically the Wuhan lab. I have to read it myself, but it was put out that the CIA is leaning heavily towards believing that it was leaked from a lab. So after years of being lied to, after years of being ridiculed, years of being called a conspiracy theorist and many other things, and years of these platforms pulling your channels and your videos down, saying that you are providing misinformation, we find out that we weren't. We find out that it was all a lie from the government and that they also believed that it was a leak from a lab, which just makes sense, guys. Does it make sense that it originated in the biolab that is like just down the street in Wuhan, or did it originate from a cave and some bats in a wet market a distance away? Like I said a little bit earlier, folks, the lack of trust in our government has been earned. So it's good to see that we are finally getting a little bit of transparency and honesty out of our government. So John Ratcliffe, day one at the CIA, we're already learning things or finding out that we were, in fact, true. Now, I won't bother playing this. I will let you guys, I'll actually just post this link in the chat and you guys can look it up yourself and watch it, but it should infuriate you. It's along the lines of all this DEI stuff. There are a bunch of companies, Ben & Jerry's included, that have basically said that they are going to retain their DEI policies. I was going to play the video, but if you can't hear the audio, there's really no point. But in it, they basically go through all of the nonsense. They're advocate for progressive social change. They're not going to stick to ice cream. They're never going to stop trying to dismantle white supremacy, folks. An ice cream company. And they want to end the climate crisis. So an ice cream company is also advocating about climate change. Democracy is in your hands. Fight for democracy. And no, we're not going to start fighting laws that restrict trans rights, ban books, roll back abortion protections. Yes, guys, this is Ben & Jerry's. So if you like their ice cream, I guess that's okay, but I will not buy from them. I will not support this. Their stance, not just for these policies, but the fact they continue to reaffirm them, even with the cultural shift that we're undergoing right now, and the fact that Trump won the popular vote, that most of these policies are not popular with the majority of the U.S. They are clinging to them. If they want to cling to these ideals, that's fine. They can. As far as I'm concerned, they can hold on to them as their company goes out of business. And at this rate, I kind of hope it does. Just putting that out there. So we do have a list. Susie Rizzio pointed out here, there are some companies standing by DEI. Now, this person obviously supports this, but Chase Bank, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, United Airlines, so like most of the airline carriers, Apple, Costco, and Delta, which is another airline. Costco has been very prevalent in the news this week, standing by its DEI policies. And you know what? That's fine. I have a membership there. I will not be renewing it. In fact, I think it's already expired because now the Costco that is near me is like an hour away. So I just don't go there anymore. So, yep, I'm not going to renew my membership and I'm not going to give them my business anymore. And really, that's how we have to vote, folks. If there are companies that have these values that, in my opinion, are just illegal, right? We talked about that a few minutes ago. They are a violation of the Civil Rights Act. We vote by our wallets. We vote by not spending money there. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. Let's not do that. That was what I was looking for. So we have some confirmations, like I said. Pete Hegseth, 50-50. Tiebreaker vote cast by J.D. Vance, President of the Senate. He had a joke. He posted it on X that he thought he was done voting in the Senate. No. I have a feeling with Mitch McConnell and the other rhinos that you're going to have plenty of tiebreakers to vote on. Now, I don't know why this is being done. I don't know why the 53 Republicans that are in the Senate continue to cause so much churn, other than they're rhinos and they need to be primaried. It feels like this 50-50 was set up on purpose to make J.D. Vance the tiebreaker vote, but I'm okay with it. It sends an interesting message, right? Hegseth is the SecDef that has the least number of confirmation votes in a while, but to me, that kind of seems like a selling point. I kind of like the fact that the establishment doesn't really like him because I don't really like the establishment. So, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with it. So Pete Hegseth confirmed this week with a 51st vote being cast by the vice president. We have Kristi Noem overwhelmingly confirmed as the Secretary of Homeland Security. It says here, thank you, Nick Sortor, that even Fetterman voted for her. So massive upgrade over the traitor, and I agree with that statement. It is not my statement, but I thoroughly agree with it, and Alejandro Mayorkas. So Kristi Noem confirmed Secretary of Homeland Security. More winning. John Ratcliffe confirmed, as we said a little bit ago, CIA director. Those 51 intelligence officers are going to be in big trouble. And I believe they were included in the list of people who lost their clearances. Folks, it doesn't sound like that big a deal. It really is. Any one of these people, after they leave government, one of the most lucrative jobs they can get, all those jobs are going to require these clearances to still be active. So by losing those clearances, these people have lost access to many jobs that would pay very, very well, from consulting to lobbying to all kinds of things. It's a wonderful thing that these liars have lost their clearance, because an integrity violation is usually one of the easiest ways to lose a clearance, that or being in a lot of financial trouble. That's one of the big things going through the nuclear pipeline in the Navy that holds people up from getting their clearance is if you are in significant financial debt. Because the government looks at that and says, this guy might take payments from China or Russia because he's really in debt. I don't know if he can be trusted with nuclear secrets. Makes a lot of sense. Probably shouldn't be trusted with many government secrets if you can't manage your finances, or if you're caught lying a lot. So integrity violations, guys, are a huge deal. These 51 agents or officers should have lost their clearance many years ago. It's good to see them finally getting that pulled. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but we cannot have government being weaponized like that and have that kind of lack of integrity in our system. It breaks the trust, and when you break the public trust, it's very difficult to get it back. We also have Senator Marco Rubio, now not a senator, but they just confirmed him as Secretary of State, and we already see him making waves. He canceled foreign aid, with the exception of Israel and Egypt, for all countries. So Mike Lee here posted, congratulations to my friend Marco Rubio, whom the Senate just unanimously confirmed as Secretary of State. Now, I believe it was a vote of 99 because Marco Rubio couldn't vote and he's now not in the Senate. Sounds about right, but unanimous. Makes sense, guys. He's one of them, right? As a senator, it's probably pretty easy to get confirmed because everybody knows who you are. So, Secretary of State, that's number 3. So we have, or actually number 4. So we have Marco Rubio, John Ratcliffe, Pete Hegseth, and Kristi Noem all getting confirmed this week. And I really enjoy this post by Nick. This is America's first team assemble. Now, I think that's pretty fitting. A lot of people disagree, but you know what? They're allowed to. So you can see here we're kind of tracking, and let me get it pulled up. Boop. Nailed it. Trump's cabinet confirmation status. Which nominees have been confirmed? We have 4 confirmed, 22 people up. So we have a bunch of delays. Hopefully we see some more progress on this week. We're going to be dealing with Senate confirmation hearings for a while because they seem to be slow rolling his picks. I think that's intentional. You can believe what you want. But yeah, confirmations still going on. So let's get this. We have a list of executive orders. Is this going to show up? Yes. Okay. List of presidential actions that Trump signed on Monday following his inauguration. Number 1, withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization. This is huge. These globalist organizations We don't need to be a part of them. We usually fund most of them, and they are doing damage to us. They are lying to us. They are trying to impose their will on us and control things within our borders. No thanks. Withdrawing for the WHO, fantastic, winning. Number 2, application of Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act to TikTok. Okay. TikTok, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on it. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't have it. I don't want it. I don't think we should have it here in the United States. But I'm also not a huge fan of the government banning things. I don't know. To me, it just seems like a foreign surveillance app. Has a whole lot of extra permissions on it that it doesn't need, but it wants. It also has access to the other apps on your phone that are open while it's open. There's rumors that it keyboard logs. There's all kinds of rumors floating around about TikTok. It also is a brain cancer. It kills people's attention spans. And watching yet another video of some lady complaining about her significant other while sitting alone in the passenger seat of her car, I could just really do without. So TikTok, I could take it or leave it. I'm not happy about it. I won't let my kids anywhere near it. I don't want anywhere near it. Other than I may start reacting to some of the content because, well, it's a relationship disaster on there. So we'll see. 3, granting pardons and commutation sentence for certain offenses relating to the events at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. This one was huge. Pretty much all the people involved, pardons. Commuted the sentence of a few, that's fine. Also, full pardon for Ross Ulbricht, which is not going to be on this list. Major, major win. Major victory for the Libertarian Party. Trump again keeping true to his election promises. So, January 6th, defendants pardoned. That includes Adam, the lectern guy. That includes Derek Evans, one of the state reps from here in West Virginia, who is going to be running against Shelley Moore Capito in the Senate, I believe in 2026. So shout out to Derek Evans. Go follow him on X. Show him your support, especially if you live in West Virginia. Putting America first in international environmental agreements, I believe withdrew from the Paris Accord. Delivering emergency price relief for American families and defeating the cost of living crisis. Sure. Hiring freeze. Yes. Federal hiring freeze. Regulatory freeze pending review. Fantastic. Returning to in-person work for federal employees. Guys, X has been full of federal employees whining about having to go back to the office. Guess what? The entire time from COVID and on, I have always had to go into the office. I've been going into the office 5 days a week for years. It's about time they do too. If we're going to spend the money for all these office buildings, people should be in them. Or we can just sell them all and terminate their employment, and then they can sit at home all day. What do you guys think? Ending the weaponization of the federal government. Fantastic, as they should. Securing our borders. Protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. Absolutely. Realigning the United States refugee admission program. Yes, Remain in Mexico was, I believe, reestablished, as well as many other immigration policies. We're already seeing immigration raids. We are already seeing deportations. Unleashing American energy. That's fantastic. And I believe this should be on the list. So I'll hold off on saying this next one. But clarifying the military's role in protecting the territorial integrity of the United States. We are already seeing, I think it's 1,000 Army and 500 Marines. It's like 1,500 troops have already gone down to the southern border to help reinforce it. Wonderful. American first trade policy. Yes, free trade agreements overall have been awful for the United States, awful for manufacturing here, which has been awful for most rural Americans because most of them used to work at factories and those factories are now gone. Memorandum to resolve the backlog of security clearances for Executive Office of the President personnel, declaring a national emergency at the southern border. Yes, and I believe an invasion, if I'm not mistaken, which is wonderful because the invasion language is required to implement the something about an alien act. We'll see if that's on the list as well. Holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive governmental information. Restoring accountability to policy influencing positions within the federal workforce. Yes, we definitely need accountability in our federal government. Protecting the American people against invasion. There it is. Number 21, invasion from the southern border. Yes. Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, global tax deal. Organization of the National Security Council and subcommittees. Reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid. And that was reinforced by Marco Rubio. Temporary withdrawal of all areas on the outer continental shelf from offshore wind leasing and reviewing of federal government leasing and permitting practices for wind projects. Now, I'm not a scientist, just speculating. There have been a lot of beached whales in the Northeast. There is a lot of speculation about whether these wind projects are one of the causes. It may not be the only one. But we are putting a halt to a lot of these wind projects until they can get reevaluated. Declaring a national energy emergency. Restoring accountability for career senior executives. Promoting beautiful federal civic architecture. This one is hilarious to me because I believe just last week on one of my streams, I talked about how it is terrible that we stopped building pretty buildings and that most of our government buildings are now just plain and square. Oh, it was on the live stream for the inauguration because they did it in a building that is absolutely gorgeous. There is a little bit of a debate we could have there. Should we be spending that kind of money building beautiful buildings? I don't know. I'd rather spend it on that than some of the other things that the government's been spending it on. Now, I would also prefer that the federal government just spent less. So let me know what you guys think. Should we be building pretty buildings or should we just spend even less? Restoring the death penalty and protecting public safety. Yes, because Joe Biden basically pardoned everybody that was on death row for the federal government. So that was pretty dumb, putting a lot of Americans at risk, I would assume. Putting people over fish, stopping radical environmentalism to provide water to Southern California. Gavin Newsom, stop trying to get the salmon water, stop trying to get the Delta smelt water, and start worrying about whether or not you have water to fight the wildfires. Please. Guaranteeing the state's protection against invasion. Restoring names that honor American greatness. Yes, bases, mountains, the Gulf of America, many other things. Designating cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and specially designated global terrorists. That should be fun. Start calling Tier 1 customer support. See if we can get some of that stuff taken care of because Tier 1 Spec Ops teams can make quite a bit of difference once you have designated them as terrorists. Reforming the federal hiring process and restoring merit to government service. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. And this is what we talked about a little earlier. We have seen a lot of resistance, though, from these organizations, either renaming their DEI programs, reassigning the personnel and spreading them throughout the organization. It's like they think that the internet and like digital media doesn't exist. There are internet archives of all of the websites of all of the personnel that worked for these organizations. Just reassigning them to a different part of that three-letter agency is not going to save them. So any of the people running these organizations that decided to name change and shuffle instead of putting them on leave and terminating these programs should also be terminated because you are ignoring this directive. Defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. Yes, it is now the United States federal policy by executive order that there are only two genders, male and female. Establishing and implementing the President's Department of Governmental Efficiency. So DOGE is now official. Hopefully they're a net benefit. I don't like that we're making government smaller by making it bigger first, but we have a Department of Governmental Efficiency now that is run by the executive branch. Hopefully they start to make a difference. America's first policy directive to the Secretary of State. This is probably also why we have now ceased most of our foreign aid. Protecting the United States from... Oh, you guys can't read that anymore. Hang on. Protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats, and unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. Yes. You can read the executive orders as it says here from the White House's website. So go ahead and check some of those out. They should be wonderful. Let me know what you think. Say here, Derek Evans, who just recently got pardoned. So congratulations, Derek. Posts here that President Trump announced plans to terminate nearly 88,000 IRS agents or reassign them to Border Patrol duties. So this basically, he said, we're going to either have you do Border Patrol duties and help out with the invasion at the southern border, or you are going to be forced out. It's interesting. This number is very close to the 87,000 agents that were hired under Biden. I think this is an excellent use for these agents because there was no way that they were going to go after millionaires and billionaires with these agents. These agents were just going to be used against average people like you and me. So reassigning them to help out with the border invasion or face termination seems like a pretty good use for them, as long as they're there. And then when they're not needed anymore, we can go ahead and just roll up the IRS and turn it into the External Revenue Service, which has been mentioned by Trump already, which is going to be used to collect tariffs, duties, and taxes from foreign countries, not from the American citizens. I think we could do with a great simplification of the U.S. tax code. A flat tax would be wonderful. People in the legislature, please listen. If we could get a flat tax that was just very simple and very low, if I knew every paycheck exactly how much, based on a certain percent, that everybody pays for taxes, it would be so much easier. It would be wonderful. And you wouldn't need the IRS anymore. Basically, just, hey, if you make $100,000 a year and the tax is 7% or 8% or whatever, I would just write a check for $7,000 or $8,000. And I would do it at the end of the year in April or after my extension for 6 months, because every year I have to get an extension, because anybody involved in MLPs for investments, well, you're not going to get that paperwork until I think it's June or July. So if MLPs don't release tax paperwork until June or July, you definitely can't file by April. So every year, probably from now until eternity, I will have to get a 6-month extension on my taxes. Thanks, IRS. It would be much easier if I just had a flat tax. You can see here, we continue the winning. So much winning. New York Times is reporting that Trump fired 17 inspectors general from several agencies in a late-night purge. On January 24th, which is yesterday, Trump fired 17 inspectors general from various federal agencies. This action, executed late Friday night, has sparked significant discussions regarding oversight, as these officials are responsible for identifying fraud, waste, and abuse within government agencies. Legal concerns have arisen because the dismissal might not have adhered to the 30-day notice requirement for Congress as mandated by federal law. Okay. Pay them for 30 days and then they can go. I don't know what you want. But it sounds like they probably weren't doing their job anyway and should have been let go a long time ago. Or they're probably just redundant now that the Department of Governmental Efficiency exists. And as Tim Pool posts here, please, Trump, no more winning. I can't take it. Trump orders blackout at the CDC, FDA, NIH as health agencies prepare for MAGA bloodbath. I like the use of the term. Yeah, guys, these agencies have been openly communicating with the public about concerns, whether it was bird flu or this disease or that disease. We already know they exist. They're trying to just stir up panic, cause chaos. So he said, no more talking to the public. You only can talk through him. Some people might think this is controversial. Some might not like it. I'm kind of okay with it because all I was seeing was, one person has died from bird flu. Great. We already know the bird flu is there because that's why there aren't any eggs. But you know what? I was seeing all kinds of posts this week about, hey, eggs, why aren't they any cheaper? I don't know about you guys, but at the store today for a dozen brown eggs, $3.99. I'm not saying that that's back to normal. That's still higher than it should be, but it's not $6.99 or $7.99 like a lot of people are saying, or $12.99 that I've seen posted on the internet. So, sure. And we can just go down here. One more thing of winning. Trump pardoned also 21 pro-life Americans. So these are the people that were praying in lobbies or out front of abortion clinics that have been locked up for years, some of them, and that were facing serious prison time based on, I believe it was the FACE Act. Well, guess what? They are now pardoned. So thank you, President Trump, for that as well. I don't know how many of you follow Bile or Bill. I don't know how to pronounce that, but interesting that he was on a train in Baltimore or to Baltimore, sat next to this individual. Don't know who they are, don't care. But the story is, are you really wearing that hat? You can see he's wearing a Trump hat. He's the one that is right here. Said it's a free country. I voted and I won and I'm proud. What's Trump done for you what has he done to you this week? To which she responded, my housekeeper is undocumented and now she's terrified. And how's that our problem? If she came here illegally, she should be scared. And if you're still keeping slaves, you should be scared too. We have laws against people like you. Apparently she moved in her seat on the train. Yeah. Guys, I don't understand this mindset from the progressives. It's always about picking your crops or cleaning your house or construction jobs or day labor jobs. They progressives seem to think that the only illegals here are Hispanics that pick crops and do construction work and clean your house. That's just not true. There are people here that have overstayed visas that are in all kinds of businesses, that do all kinds of jobs. It seems strangely, although maybe not so strange for the progressive Democrats, but it seems strangely racist to make the assumption that just because somebody is an illegal alien or a criminal alien, I believe is the correct term, that they are all Mexicans. It's just not the case, guys. There's been over 100 and I think 20 now countries of origin of people detained at our southern border, including many Chinese nationals. You have lots of Africans, Asians, South Americans, Europeans, like people from all over the globe are coming here illegally. Now, we aren't tolerating it the same way as we used to, but it's just so interesting to me that these progressives are just still so racist. It's just so, I don't know, disgusting. I think it's the only real word I can think of for it. But yeah, guys, we've had lots of progress. We had, I think, I'm trying to remember the date that it flew on, but like Starship Flight Test 7. We've had other launches from SpaceX. We had New Glenn launched. Lots of progress in space. The cheaper we can make access to space, the better we're going to be. The more likely we're going to get the Artemis and the Gateway program off the ground. No pun intended. I'm not allowed to point that out. What, the progressive racism, Groundhog? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I'm probably not supposed to, but I am anyway. But yeah, Papa Elon. Oh, that was another fun one this week. People just can't. Whenever the Democrat talking point comes out, it's always the same. It's just all over X, the same accounts. This week, Papa Elon decided that he was going to tell you that his heart, from his heart out to the audience. And he did it just in a manner that was very Elon. And that's okay, because most of us with common sense understands how Elon acts and who he is. And you know what? The people that don't, or the people that take it out of context because they have a message that they want to purvey, they were basically like, he is throwing the Roman salute, I'll just call it, because that's the actual term for it. That whole narrative was so tiresome this week. They're just trying to take away from anything that Papa Elon's doing, whether it's his platform on X, whether it's the success at Tesla, the success at SpaceX, his movements with the Boring Company or with Neuralink, which I don't know what your guys' thoughts are about Neuralink, but it seems kind of sketch. Boring Company just sounds boring, I guess. Sorry, dad joke, pun. But I've been in Vegas a couple times. I have not gone through the tunnels, though. Maybe I'll do that just for fun when I'm there in March. I don't know. Do you guys think I should go in one of the tunnels? If there's any service, maybe I can live stream it. I don't know. But the Boring Company's done some work. But overall, it's my interest in space, guys. SpaceX has been doing some amazing things. They are Mr. Miyagiing like 11-story building or whatever it is out of the sky, which is absolutely psychotic. But also, just space is cool, guys. Space is interesting. And one of the things that I saw this week that I just wanted to kind of close things out with is this. As we learn more about our solar system, as we get more details, we see how beautiful creation is. Also, how they say he's the president. Yes, Groundhog, very true. That has been a progressive narrative as well. They're trying to say he's the real president, that Trump is his vice president. They're trying to say that that Trump works for Elon, that he owes Elon, which, I mean, without Elon buying X, or I guess Twitter at the time, how many of you think we would actually be here? I'm not saying that Elon bought the election, but I am saying that having a place like X that pressures places like YouTube to be more open and free, that encourages platforms like Rumble to exist, without Elon buying Twitter and making it more open. It's not perfect, but by making it more open, I think the election and our history changed. So I'm appreciative that he did it. There are things that he's doing, though, with the platform that I don't necessarily like. But you know what? We're allowed to not like it. And we're allowed to have that conversation because that platform is more open, and more free than it ever was. But this picture is just beautiful, guys. Originally, we thought Pluto was a planet, and then all those a-holes took it away from us and said it's a pseudo-planet or a microplanet or whatever the hell they say it is now. But in 2002, we got a little better view of it, and it's like, oh, that's kind of neat. It's kind of yellow, maybe. I don't know why it was yellow, but if you look there in 2017, we got a lot better picture of it. Looks like one of those cool marbles that you used to see, growing up. But space is just interesting. It freed the internet for conservatives. I think it definitely helped quite a bit. We already had Rumble. Rumble was a thing, but it was not growing very fast. And I think a combination of X and Rumble together, that they have definitely helped each other. And I definitely agree with you, Groundhog, that X helped free the internet for conservatives. Now, I don't even know if I would consider myself a conservative, but I am more right-leaning than centrist, and I'm definitely not a leftist. Ugh. Definitely not. Disgusting. In fact, I'm going to try and see if I can find one more thing that I wanted to share with you, but I don't know where it went. You can also check out, I've been doing a couple reactions just while we were streaming. It should have gone up, but there was the World Economic Forum this week at Davos. There were a couple of speeches that were very interesting. I already now have live on the channel just this evening President Javier Milei's speech at Davos. I really enjoy reacting to his speeches. They are a lot of fun. The fact that he just goes to Davos and just craps all over globalists at Davos is amusing to me. But yeah, so that's now live. I will be doing a reaction to Trump's speech there as well. Trump's speech is an hour. It's going to take a while to record that one and edit it. So I will get that one out to you guys this week. I also have some of the spoken word videos from Tom McDonald to react to. I have some relationship videos to react to. And guys, as you can see, and let me show you. I'm trying to figure out how I can get this pulled up. I will also be doing the Fighter and the Kid interview podcast with Tom McDonald. I got a couple other things that I want to do for you. But I'm trying to see how I can get this pulled up. You can see here, there is a link right down here to the Discord, or that's the invite code for the Discord. You can go there, join our conversations there. It's going to be a lot of fun trying to grow that community. You can follow me on X at PatriotDad_USA. Always fun there. Like I said, Questionable Gardener, myself, and a few others have a weekly lives there on X, Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you have a recommendation or submission for something you want to see on the channel, you can send it to that email address. You can also leave it as a comment on any of the videos that I put up, and I will get to those as soon as I can. Yeah, guys, this week was just so full of winning. I am so happy for the January 6th defendants. I am so happy for Ross Ulbricht. I don't know why there's such a controversy around him. People seem very upset that he got pardoned. They were saying, oh, he ran the Silk Road. He empowered people to do all kinds of things. I don't think they really understand how the Silk Road operated. The Silk Road operated. Yes, he operated the platform, but it was a place where people could post listings and sell things to other people freely and openly. The platform, including Ross, had no ability to pull down those listings. The only person that could pull a listing down off of it was the person that posted it. So there was no platform control of those posts. And the fact that they were doing these exchanges in Bitcoin outside of the traditional banking system meant that there was no way for the government to serve Ross Ulbricht with a warrant to force him to take down a listing, or to basically force him to give any of that money or interfere in the process of that exchange. And I think it is my opinion, I will say, that that is what terrified the government about the Silk Road and about Ross. Now, lots of things happened on the Silk Road that I do not support, right? And it enabled people to transact things like human trafficking, drugs, and all kinds of other things. Ross was accused of, and I would say not very credibly, but of trying to hire a hit person. That kind of thing was also exchanged on Silk Road. So I can see how people have a moral objection to the existence of it, but it is probably the purest, most libertarian thing that has ever existed. And to lock up Ross for 2 life sentences and 40 years, to me, that was just a message. I think the federal government was just trying to send a message to anybody else that would try and either repeat or participate in a platform like the Silk Road. So now Ross has been fully pardoned. I'm interested to see if now that he's been pardoned for it, if the government owes him all of the Bitcoin back, because I saw a number and it was a number in well over $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, at the time, it wasn't worth that, but it is now. So we'll see if he's going to get that money back or not. He may not, just because that was probably done under civil asset forfeiture, not as part of the criminal case, which is unfortunate, because I'm sure he would love to have that money back. But one of the things that I talked about a little earlier on the stream was my participation in the Spaces, crypto Spaces today. It was an interesting discussion, guys, about crypto, its use, its future use, what its purpose might be, why people might support it or might not support it, some of the pump and dump schemes, why there's not a lot of public trust in it, the fact that most of the crypto coins do not have use cases. It's an interesting discussion. We also got into things like mentorship, which is really the only way to fast track success. We got into a discussion about work, hard work over time, the difference between trading and investing. There was a lot of great discussion in some of those spaces, guys. So if you ever have some free time, you should check out, just find a space that is open on X. Go to it. Sit in it, listen to it. And if you feel like you want to, click the little microphone button and ask to become a speaker. It was probably one of the more interesting experiences today, was participating as a speaker on just a random space that I found that was going and being able to contribute. I even got a couple of people that followed me and that DM'd me and thanked me for my contribution. It's very interesting. I appreciate y'all's comments here. I appreciate the comments that I get on my videos. I try and reply to pretty much all of them still. And I'm going to maintain that posture as long as I can, because I genuinely appreciate the viewers that I have. I genuinely appreciate the subscribers that I have on YouTube, the followers that I have on X, the subscribers on Rumble. I appreciate all of you, because without you guys, I would just be a guy talking at a computer to nobody. So if there's anything you want to see on the channel, please leave in a comment or email it to patriotdadyt@gmail.com. If you're looking to support the channel, you can like any of my videos. You can share the channel with friends and family. You can share any of my videos. Subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell icon so you can be notified when I upload content. You can also follow me over on X, patriotdad_USA. You can interact with me directly there. Send me a DM. As long as you are a real person, I should respond to you. Many of the people that send me DMs on X, I don't respond to, because they're either bots or they act like bots. So don't act like a bot, because if you do, I will not respond to you. Or join the Discord. You can find the link in any of my videos. Join the Discord. You can interact with me directly there as well. I will be doing some more content there as time goes on, but mostly right now it's just going to be posts and discussions. So if you want to ask me a question either on the Discord or on X, you can do so. Leave me a comment, and I look forward to our next live stream on Saturday next week. It will be, we're almost in February, guys. Next Saturday will be February 1st. Time is flying. 2025 is just going by it, man. Being a dad right now of a 4 to 5 year old, I don't know where the time goes. So I look forward to February 1st. I'll be back here with another weekly update. I'm sure if there's anything like this week, we'll have plenty to talk about. I will also see you, for the people over on X, I will see you in the spaces with Questionable Gardener and myself and others. They're on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. I look forward to it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves, and God bless. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.